Call the meeting to order. Roll call of Alderman.
Heisler.
Here.
Kinsella.
Here.
Holmes. Schmidt. Rudowitz. Randall. Anthony.
Here.
Davidson.
Here.
Silsby.
Here.
Hasty.
Here.
Cybert.
Here.
White.
Here.
Galetti.
Here.
Musgrove.
Here.
Orlett. Schneider.
Here. Alderman Arlett is excused. Roll call of department heads.
Police Chief Clay. Fire Chief Langston.
Here.
City Attorney Garrett Warner.
Here.
Ken Vaughn.
Here.
Royce Carlisle.
Here.
Jamie Matron.
Here.
Tim Grywitz.
Here.
Jim Schneider.
Here.
Leander Spearman.
Here.
Emily Foltz.
Here.
Chuck Schaefer.
Here.
Bob Sabo.
Here.
Debbie Belmont.
Chief Clay is excused and Assistant Chief Sparger is here to begin the meeting in his presence. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There is no public hearing this evening, but before we start public participation, I am going to ask that this young lady would come forward. She's with the Basic Initiative. I apologize, I should have wrote your name down when I introduced yourself. But if you come forward, she's from Belleville West, I know that. And if you give your name, and she's going to introduce the character word of the month. You can spin that around if you want to face this way or however you want to do it. Whatever works.
I'm Carissa Bell. I'm a junior at Belleville West. Peace is a state of balance and understanding in yourself and between others, where respect is gained by the acceptance of differences, tolerance persists, conflicts are resolved through dialogue, people's rights are respected and their voices are heard, and everyone is at their highest point of serenity without social tension.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate the Basic Initiative volunteering to do these work, so thank you. I'm going to open public participation, and in a peaceful way, I would ask that you would be recognized, and once I recognize you, approach the microphone, and please give your name and address, and try to keep your remarks to 2 to 3 minutes. So, who would like to go first this evening? Yes, sir.
Richard Brown, 125 Lucille Lane, Shiloh, Illinois. First thing, you guys are going to be voting tonight on Tom Peters. I think that would be an extremely bad choice for the hearing officer. He was one of the 4 attorneys that were initially involved with the illegal retroactive rezoning of large swaths of the city of Belleville in the late 90s and the early millennium. Bill Enyart was one of them, Bob Sprague was one of them, and Mike Flynn was another one. That stuff was done illegally. Second thing, Mr. Mayor, where are my freedom of information requests? They've been sitting in your office. There's some of over a month due. And you've already gotten 3 letters from the Attorney General's office on 3 other FOIA. Where are they at?
We're, the city attorney's taking care of that.
Well, you know, you better, one of the things, you know, you have to be open and honest. And the city hasn't been honest with me on some of the FOIAs that they did send back. I don't like being lied to, and when I ask for information under the Freedom of Information Act, I expect a timely response. And we're not getting that to you. And as far as those lost documents, the zoning minutes between 1996 and 2006, that's a violation of state law, so you best come up with them.
Who's next? Yes, sir.
Stuart Manor, 318 South 29th Street, Belleville. I'm just wondering, who has the authority to give away Belleville taxpayer property? Here I got the matting and plating from the city, county. It's property that the old hobby shop used to be on. I don't know if anybody remembers, on around 29th Street, and that wedge-shaped piece of ground. Well, a few years ago, I went to the mapping and plating, and it clearly states it's City of Belleville property. And now, the other day, it clearly states it's Lindenwood University property, and I don't recall anybody of Belleville paying for Lindenwood buying that property. So, how did Lindenwood take over a piece of Belleville property? And nobody knowing how it come about. I think we've done more than enough for Lindenwood. We sold them the whole property for $1. They made us pay $115,000 for the tennis court supposedly. Then I had made the 201 pay rent on some of the offices. The crime lab, they sold to the state of Illinois the property that they bought for $1. They sold a piece of that for hard to tell how much. The Illinois Crime Lab. They're turning these.
Mr. Lanner, just let me correct you here, though, so there's no misconception. The property they sold for the crime lab was not part of the original deal with Belleville West. That was property they purchased on their own after the fact, okay?
Why did Belleville keep it?
We never had it.
Who belonged to?
It belonged to those individual property owners that Dr. Spellman bought it from.
Okay. They're turning these single-family houses. I got a list here, back there, they've bought up over 50 single-family houses, and those were houses that were paying property tax to the county. Now these 50 pieces of property are not paying any property tax because they're tax-free. And they're jamming 6 and 7 kids into these schools because the parking lots are 6 or 7 cars behind every house. So I think they're taking Belleville for a ride, actually. I don't think they're a great boon to Belleville that they think. A lot of people in Belleville think they are.
Okay,
Thank you.
Anyone like to go next? Yes, ma'am.
Rose Wilson, 322 West I Street. And I would just like to say something. I would like to thank all of the volunteers who have worked so hard on the 9/11 memorial. Belleville will be very proud to have a place to honor and remember the courage of all the first responders, pilots, flight crews, passengers, and so many other men and women affected by this tragedy. The immense loss of life that day will forever stay in the hearts of our nation. I lost 3 friends and co-workers on that day at the Pentagon. It is very sad to read that the issue of funding for this noble cause was made when none existed. I would like to let you know that the alderman involved does not speak for the majority of citizens of Belleville on this matter, and neither does the opinion page of the Belleville News-Democrat. I am glad to say that we, the people of Belleville, are still by far and large citizens of character and compassion, and we will unite for this noble cause. Thank you.
Thank you. Who else would like to speak this evening? Anybody? Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Pinakin Patel, 1754 Northern Way, Swansea. I'm here to request council for the zoning application, considering the work for that. We are approaching Mr. Huda here, who owns the DC electronics store, and we are proposing to purchase that and open a new store there, and requesting for the rezoning of that property. That building itself is about 40 years old, hasn't been renovated or anything. We are proposing that we are going to renovate that building, give it a completely new facade, and also change everything inside from ceiling to the floor. And we are proposing to increase the parking space in the front and also in the back. And that building also has the back side of the building is been empty for years and has not been cleaned up. So if the opportunity is given to us, we would like to clean that up and give it a new look. And we would appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear where I didn't catch the address.
The address of the property is what, 4416 West Main. Thank you. Anyone else this evening? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Nicole Parks, 735 Union Avenue. I'm here to address the increased traffic on Union Avenue. I know you're probably aware of that. And I know I've made some phone calls, done some discussions with a few people. I understand that IDOT cannot put traffic down city streets. I do not feel that there is enough detour signs taking traffic down other streets rather than down Union Avenue. And I know that IDOT cannot do that, but if IDOT cannot do it, I was wondering if the city could possibly put detour signs down, taking them down city streets. I have a few suggestions on that, on where they could be routed, if that's at all possible. Eastbound, I was thinking 17th Street to Main Street, and then westbound, I guess, that would be, I think there needs to be more signs on westbound going from the fairgrounds to 13th Street to take them down 15. We have an extreme volume of traffic coming down Union Avenue, which is also semi-traffic, which I don't feel that semis should be coming down a side city street. I don't feel that there's enough signs for the semis, like where they actually need to be going. I think they're getting too far down Route 13 before they realize they have no place to go. And then once they're there, they're taking a side street, which just happens to be Union Avenue coming through a neighborhood. I know things have been addressed. I know we've taken parking. We used to be able to park on both sides of the street. They've taken.
This is a temporary action.
I understand that. I understand. And I know, but we appreciate that something has been done to try and address the situation. I mean, we do appreciate that. But we feel that the neighbors in that neighborhood are being punished for something that we feel that could be rerouted or maybe more signs. I feel like there could be maybe a sign that says no truck traffic, maybe local traffic only, something along those lines. We just feel that there's not enough signs detouring the traffic in other directions.
I will tell you that you're well heard.
Okay.
We, as you know, when we heard some of the first of all, let me just say this. A lot of the local people choose their own detours.
I understand.
And those people who live here for years know that Union Avenue cuts over to 11th Street or wherever they want to get around the obstacles of this construction. I agree with you. Our city engineer is working with me. He was in my office again this morning. We're going to continue to talk to IDOT. I agree that there could be better signage on 13 coming from the fairgrounds on. I know you talked to the assistant police chief. He was in my office today.
Yes.
And I know I think first of all, you understand we're trying.
I do understand.
We're not purposely detouring anyone down. After the police chief and the assistant chief personally went out there themselves and looked at Union Avenue about a week ago, they came back to me and said, look, I think for safety, for now, we need to eliminate parking. And their observation of the police traffic officer and the two of them was that there was probably less cars in a couple days period parking on the north side. So they felt like we were less negatively impacting people, which we're not trying to negatively impact them. We want to make it one safer.
Right.
We are going to continue to work with IDOT. The good news is they're 4 months ahead of schedule on the project, but I don't want to brag about that because winter hasn't hit yet and we could be 4 months behind.
Correct.
However, we're going to continue to evaluate it. I would suggest, as I think Chief Sparger told you, if you have any other suggestions, and he told me it might not work for you, but anybody else in the neighborhood, we're going to put it back for review again on the traffic committee agenda for next Tuesday,
Okay.
a week from tomorrow.
Right.
And we're going to continue to monitor. If you have a revelation that you observe that you think will be helpful, we'll listen.
Okay.
It's construction and improvements, and this is an IDOT project. We didn't really have any real say in it. It's just they told us it's going to be done. But they got the speed monitor out there. I think you've seen the police have been out there a little bit more often, and they're going to continue. The chief has pledged that to me. So we're going to work with you. We're going to monitor it. We'll continue to try some of the things you even suggested tonight. There's a few of them. If you have anything that you spoke about tonight that we didn't catch, if you want to send me an email, I know you've been talking to Lieutenant Colonel Sparger, just shoot it to him. And we're going to, all I can tell all the neighbors who are here from Union Avenue area, we're going to continue to make that situation more tolerable and continue to work on safety as we work through this construction project.
Okay.
Okay?
And we do
And I
appreciate the time.
I appreciate you coming forward. You know, I've been down there numerous times in the last couple of weeks, different times of day and night, and I will tell you, morning rush and afternoon, it's a mess.
It's crazy.
There's no two ways about it. So we are going to continue to work at it, but I think we're trying, as you can see, to make some strides in safety, and we're going to continue.
Okay.
Your Honor?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've spoken to Ms. Parks too, and I know she can't make the traffic committee meeting. I'd like to respectfully ask the city clerk when he's working on the minutes. Mr. Cook, could you also forward those comments to the traffic committee staff so we can have her comments tonight at the traffic committee? So you know, have that added into that record. And anybody that wants to continue communicating with me, because I've got a lot of phone calls too on it.
Yeah, the police chief and Mr. Gregowitz have both been assisting my office in getting the responses to the neighbors and also to trying to alleviate this as best we can, make it as safe as possible. So I pledge we'll continue to work at this. Like I said, we went through this and other projects around town, and sometimes progress is painful. But we'll try to make it, we'll try to ease as best we can. Hopefully it'll continue to go fast. So thank you. Anybody else this evening? Yes, ma'am.
Mary McHugh, 10503 West Main. I didn't plan to speak this evening, but I can't help it. I have a dismal good feeling. I look over here, pictures don't lie. We had a flood here in Belleville. It's unfortunate. Hopefully, we don't continue to look at all the ugly things that could be going on in our city, and that we don't have those kind of eyes and glasses that see the beautiful things, and that we can bring beautiful pictures into this room. It just bothers me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Yes, sir.
There's an elephant in the room. Lee O. Griffin. 305 North Charles Street, Belleville. Chairman of the Citizens for Social and Economic Progress. I am glad to approach this tribunal. A year ago, I approached this committee in reference to my 11-year-old son that was harassed by an officer, Officer Mr. Jones, Tim Jones. He's been promoted now. Hey, I got past it, my son hasn't got past it, but hey, if he's doing the right thing, he came in, he said he was wrong, and we got it past us. I respect him, I respect his brother, Doug Jones, but I don't want officers approaching my kids in a negative capacity, trying to cross-examine them and tell me your dad's been in jail for prison. Yeah, I was in jail for prison for 16 years for a crime I didn't commit, but I was exonerated through that judicial system. I took that lemon and made it into lemonade. I'm here today for one purpose, and one purpose only, to get a fair practice in housing, to get a fair practice on these committees, to get some African American involvement on these committees, because we as African American people in Belleville, who's a part of Belleville, good, decent people, not no criminals, we're concerned, and we know that if we're not here at these committees, if we're not at the table, we'll be on the menu. So we're here asking you again, Mayor, to honor your pledge when you ran in the mayoral debate that you're going to make sure there was some fair hiring practices. We got rid of Kim Ferguson. Thank you very much for that one. What happened about that? I got to the bottom of it, but I tell you one thing, I'm glad she's gone, and I'm hoping we're going to put an African American in there. I campaigned for Mr. Anthony. I campaigned for Mr. Dallas. I campaigned for Mr. Dean. I campaigned for Ms. Schmidt. Nobody wants to bring up the fact that we're not diligently coming after African Americans. There's some qualified blacks here. We got 311 full-time employees. Only 24 is African American. That's crazy. That's ridiculous, Mayor. And you can say it out your own mouth. When I was at all three bases, you're going to make sure that we diligently hire some African Americans. Not just no trophies, but some significant people that have something to bring to the table that can disagree with this board agreeably. Not nobody who's going to scratch where they don't itch. We're trying to move forward here in 2014. We're concerned about crime. I looked at this crime housing list. I don't see nothing but Caucasian people on there. I look over in houses. We don't have a black paper pusher.
That's not true.
Look at the housing practice. You tell me Mr. Snyder's trying to hire some African Americans? They're not. We know what's going on. But all African Americans are not criminals. Now what I want to say to you is this. One thing we learned from Dr. King, a person that won't stand for something will fall for anything. And I want to say this in my closing. The records speak for themselves. We want positive police officers that we can have a positive exchange with. We help get these people elected. I went back for that young man over Tim Carpenter, and I'm hoping I did the right thing, because I thought we need some diversity on the board, but people that's going to be able to stand up and do the right thing. Nobody's brought that housing issue up. Every time I look around, you got another Caucasian person. It's a good old boys club. It's not changing. Nothing's changing. Look at these committees. Look at Dallas Cook. I try to get FOIA information. We can't get it. He can't run his office. He's not hiring no African Americans. He's not hiring no African Americans because their hands are tied. So I'm asking these aldermen to really look at what's going on here and let's work together. We're concerned about crime. We got the crime bill passed, but just set them out on a witch hunt for African Americans. Let them know we're concerned about the houses, the homeless people. Let's do something seriously for homeless people. Let's do something for the other concerns. Instead of just raising taxes, let's cut back on spending. Let's educate people so we can all live here together. And I'm sad today, and I'm wrapping it up. I know I'm at the end of my time, but I'm very sad today because there's nothing on the swimming pool. There's no transparency. It's amazing. Documents are always mysteriously disappearing. I mean, Houdini would be amazed at all these disappearing acts. Let's do something. Let's these officers stand up and let them breathe and let them get some African Americans up here and some minorities. I don't care what the diversification. Let's get some real diversity. We never had an African American police officer here. I thought this was an opportunity for us to get some African Americans over there. I heard these officers say out their own mouths. We're going to get some blacks in there now. That's not a black anywhere. Come on now, let's get realistic. Let's work together. And I'm demanding, and I'm going to be out here campaigning and asking for real people, qualified blacks, to come forward and give these people some jobs, Mayor. Everybody ain't got the same opportunities that you had. Give these people some jobs up here. Let's get a committee together to look and see what we can do to hire some African Americans. Thank you for your time, and again, I wish all of you the best in all your endeavors, both privately and professionally. God bless you.
Is there anyone else this evening? Hearing none, I'm closing public participation. Since we've already recognized the character word of the month, I will ask for a motion to formally recognize the promotion by the Police and Fire Commission of Lieutenant Tim Jones.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Schmidt, second by Alderman Heisler. Any discussion? Roll call.
Heisler. Aye. Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt. Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Silsby.
Aye.
Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert. White.
Aye.
Galletti. Musgrove. Orland. Schneider.
Motion carries. Lieutenant Jones, congratulations. So next I would ask as a motion to approve C, it's 1 through 6. I'd ask for a motion to appoint the following members of the Crime-Free Housing Committee. It's the new ordinance 7715 33-3-2. Ordinance calls for 2 aldermen. I've asked Alderman Kinsella and Alderman White, and they've agreed to serve. Property manager, Patty Herr. Tenants, Patrick Eschman and Vanessa Smith. A real estate agent, Trish Tialdo. Owner-occupied homeowners, Walter Hood and Beverly Fiss. And landlords, Kevin Baus and John Duraco. I will tell you that this is a diverse group. There is diversity amongst race, gender, age, and geography as far as being spread out in different parts of the community. It was a committee that was given with much input. I listened, and I believe it's a very good first committee for this crime-free housing. So I ask for a motion to approve. Motion by Alderman Anthony, a second by Alderman Schmidt. Discussion. Yes, ma'am.
Is there I'm sorry I didn't have a couple of words with you, a description of their duties and a length of service?
Don't believe they have a length of service, Bob. I think, as we said before, it's a work in progress. They have a minimum of 2 meetings a year. They're to review the ordinance, the application of the ordinance is being followed. They're to look at the monies that are being tracked and how they're being spent, and to review and report back with any concerns. And as we said, and Bob and I have had many conversations, this committee over time, as well as the staff, may come back to this group with amendments as they see fit or additional information as they work on this. There's a lot of positive energy going into this crime-free program. The police department and the housing department, I don't think have ever worked more closely together. The new computer system is getting close to being up and running, which is going to be an excellent, as you may remember, a number of months back, almost a year ago probably, time flies, when we purchased this new equipment, is going to be an excellent addition to the housing department to be able to have the data at their fingertips for the crime-free that's logged in, and so can the police department. They can share it. So I think we're on the eve of some really good things happen to strengthen our neighborhoods, and I ask that you would appoint this committee, approve my recommendations to get this thing started. But there's not a long list of bylaws as to what their duties. It's to review, monitor, and to actually continue to look at other additional needs.
Okay, who then has the authority to call a meeting?
They're going to get together, and I anticipate that they will. What I will charge them with, and I will be at their first meeting, and we'll probably have a preliminary meeting this year. I'm anticipating in January, just as more or less an orientation, and I'm going to ask them to, amongst themselves, select a chairperson.
Okay. And is there,
Mr. Kinsella had served that.
In the city, I would assume housing department.
It's going to go to health and
That
housing.
will type their meeting minutes for them.
Bob Sable, if you looked and read the ordinance, Bob Sable is the staff person assigned to it, and it'll be no different. It'll be a subcommittee of the housing committee, health and housing. Okay? We have a motion and we have a second to approve the committee I just listed that was, and that was made by motion here. Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt. Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewood.
Aye.
Randall.
Abstain.
Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Sillsby.
Aye.
Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Galletti.
Abstain.
Musgrove.
Aye.
Schneider.
No.
Motion carries. At this time, I ask for a motion to approve the hearing officer appointment to the Crime-Free Housing Committee, ordinance 7715, 33-3-2. I've asked Tom Peters of Belleville. You're well familiar. He was our acting city attorney. He's had much experience, and he also had quite a bit of involvement during that intern month and before in helping to orchestrate this ordinance. So I hear a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Alderman Heisler, second by Alderman Schmidt. Any discussion?
Kind of the same questions, description of duty, length of service, place of service. And I don't know what hearing officer means. I mean, that implies a trial, kind of. So I'm not sure what it is.
Hang on, let the city attorney pull it up, and it's in your ordinance that has the description here. You want to go through it, Gary?
Under section 33-3-18, there's a crime-free housing certificate suspension and revocation process, and the hearing officer oversees the administrative hearing that is spelled out in that section. And it is pursuant to that section, after the presentation of evidence by the affected owner, landlord, or managing agent, makes findings and renders a decision as to whether or not the crime-free housing certificate would be suspended or potentially revoked, or whether or not, to a lesser extent, there would be ordered retraining with successful completion of another seminar. It's all spelled, the administrative process is all spelled out in section 33-3-18, and the hearing officer essentially, yeah.
Is it talk in any way about time frame? Is this something that would be held quarterly, monthly, or is it just?
At the request, right, Bob?
We're feeling our
As
way
needed.
It's really an as needed. I recall that during the course of the hearings in some communities, they may not have any administrative hearings for a year. In other communities, they may have a few. And it really depends on the nature of the citation and whether or not, if there's a citation that's able to be resolved short of a year.
Okay, is there anything in there protecting the property owner's rights possibly to be heard within 30 days?
Oh yeah, it's 14 days notice.
Okay, 14, thank you. And Mr. Mayor, has Mr. Peters' out-of-town schedule changed at all? Will he always be available?
Mr. Peters has pledged he will do his best, and we can certainly set this. There's not the ordinance does not set that it's a certain day of month, each month. It's like Mr. Harner just said. We may only have 2 times a year. We can certainly look at his schedule. If he's traveling with his practice, we can certainly look at his schedule. If he gives us a date, Tom Peters will be there.
Your Honor, if I'd like to comment from the task force point of view. We had some discussion about setting times and things like this. We don't really know what this job will entail. Hopefully, we wouldn't even have to call it very often. We would hope that we'd have people who would do as they're supposed to. But we did not have a handle on how many times they'd have to wait. They have to meet per year or anything of that sort, because it is a first step, and that's why we had no recommendation.
I think Joe was next to me.
Yes, Your Honor, a couple of questions. First, I don't have the ordinance in front of me. Does a person have a right to appeal, refresh my memory, right to appeal the hearing officer's decision to both city council and other bodies? Or is that a definitive decision?
No, it's based upon findings of the hearing officer because it's intended to be a determination by a third party who hears the evidence. Then that will determine an action by the city, and then it's not subject per se to statutory administrative review law, but it would be subject to declaratory judgment type of civil claim if landlord wanted to further appeal some action that's taken.
But they can't take it to this body.
That's correct.
So it, So basically, this hearing officer position, which we didn't discuss much during the process, and maybe we should have, this hearing officer is in essence the judge.
Correct.
So it's ruling on these claims.
Correct.
That are raised by people.
And that is very common in administrative law. For instance, when you have a grievance procedure that's required under the Illinois Labor Relations Act for all your unions, that process goes to the selection of an arbitrator who makes a full and final determination. That's not subject to anything beyond petition to confirm an arbitration award in the circuit court. The whole idea behind selecting a hearing officer or an arbitrator to make final determinations is in not only the interest of finality, but the interest of expediency and finance.
Your Honor, I also had the concerns that was raised by Alderman Holt that was, Mr. Peters, I mean, made it very clear that he was serving as interim city attorney, but he didn't want to be in that position that long because of time constraints. We have, once this process starts and we start kicking out letters and notifications based on what's going on, we don't know how many of these cases we could get. And if he can, fulfill it. But even more so, I just want to state for the record, as I do when I explain my vote, at this juncture, I intend to vote no, not only, not so much for the person, but I'm going to go back to my original statement, and that is, as we're going to push forward this process, Your Honor, with crime-free housing, I certainly have no problem with the individuals in the board and providing oversight, but I don't think we need a hearing officer as much as we need, and probably this should have been a predecessor to the whole process, or at least part of it, and that is that we need our own housing court. And I think that's the ultimate solution to this handling these problems.
Alderman.
Thank you, Mayor. Have we established a salary, or is this position?
Mr. Peters will take no salary. That's the only condition he has. He does not want any money for the job. Now, when Mr. Peters' time says he says it's up, or if it doesn't work out, I would say we're going to have to pay someone to do it.
Well, that's where I was going with my question on if we've established a salary or billable hours.
We have not.
Some type of rate.
We're going to have to track this and see what it produces, and then we'll have a better idea. But when I talked to Tom about compensation, he said, I will do it, I will help you get started. However, he says, I want no compensation. He took no compensation for his month as being acting city attorney, and he said he would do this for no compensation. He will help us, get this, off the ground. And we will track it, as he and I have talked, so that we do have some better ideas as we would budget and as we would go forward in the future months ahead. Alderman Gleddy, do you have a question?
It's going to be about compensation.
Anybody else has roll call?
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
No.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Silsby.
Aye.
Hayden.
No.
Seibert.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Galletti. Musgrove.
Aye.
Schneider.
No.
Ayes have it. Reading of the minutes.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to receive and file the regular city council meeting minutes of October 21st, 2013.
So moved, Your Honor.
Motion by Alderman Heisler, do I hear a second? Second by Alderman Kinsella. Yes, ma'am.
I would like to move that they be amended with the insert that Mr. Cook provided us before the meeting.
Should insert everybody's table?
Yeah, motion.
Does everyone have, see the insert? Do the two people making the motion agree to insert the insert as an amendment?
Yes.
Okay. Duly noted. Yes.
I have no concern, but I have an objection to the St. Paul ad being in there. There's no explanation on why it's there. You start adding, just adding a piece of paper just because the St. Paul, we're advertising. I don't think that needs to be in the minutes.
I wasn't even aware of that. I don't know why it was that there.
That was something Mrs. Alderman Schneider.
It was entered in the record by Alderman Schneider.
And you can go forward, I'm just saying, there's no explanation to it, and then we just start adding articles right and left because it may apply to something. I'm against that.
The explanation's on page 6.
That doesn't tell you why it's being done. No steps.
May I speak?
Okay, are you asking for?
I'm just making a statement.
Okay, okay. Do you have a comment, Alderman Schneider?
Yes, I was just going to say, when I handed it to Mr. Cook, I stated why, that they already knew that it was going to be approved, they were already advertising.
Do we have in the minutes that she asked to add that to it?
We do not have the minutes that she
Well,
asked.
then that should not be added to it. If it was not in the motion when you all voted to add this document to the minutes, right, Mr. Harner? Then it should not be in there.
Well, there was no, I'm confused.
Okay, but when you presented it during the meeting,
Yes, sir.
and you asked to include that in the minutes,
Yes.
and that's in the record,
She asked for it to be included in the record as a matter of record.
and that's on the tape?
That is not in the minutes, but it would be on the recording, yes.
Excuse me, Your Honor. Alderman Schneider said that she explained why she was turning this in, and she did say it in public meeting. So if we want to, we can include her statement in
Okay,
there.
I just don't remember. Too many
It
things
was
going on.
in this public meeting, and I would include her statement with it. How do you want that worded, Alderman Schneider? That,
Like I just said, I was submitting this because they already was assumed under, that it was going to be approved. They're already advertising that they're going to be doing it, so whether we approved it or not, they were going to go
So we should
ahead.
adjust the minutes to reflect that she.
Go back and listen to the tape and see what the minutes say.
Okay, we'll do.
So with that exception, with that adjustment still forthcoming, can we approve the minutes based on what was approved, what was recommended here tonight?
Yes.
Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewood.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson. Silsby.
Aye.
Havey.
Aye.
Seibert. White.
Aye.
Galletti.
Aye.
Musgrove.
Aye.
Schneider.
Motion carries. Claims, payroll, and disbursements, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to pay the claims, payroll, and disbursements. So moved, Your Honor.
Motion by Alderman Heisler, second by Alderman Schmidt. Discussion on the claims. Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewood.
Aye.
Randall. Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Silsby. Havey. Seibert. White.
Aye.
Galletti.
Aye.
Musgrove.
Aye.
Schneider.
Motion carries. Zoning Board of Appeals Advisory Report.
Number one, case number 51, October 13th, Howes Incorporated, One Stop Liquor, requesting a special use permit for a liquor license at 4416 West Main Street, located in a C2 heavy commercial zoning district.
Your Honor, as this case was submitted to the zoning board, and all testimony was received there, and the case was denied by a unanimous vote of all members of the zoning board. So I would recommend that we follow the recommendation of the zoning board and deny the application.
Motion by Alderman Musgrove, second by Alderman Kinsella. Any discussion from the Alderman? Roll call. Have the proper, there's no artist to be drawn, but I'd like a roll call vote based on this request for denial. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
What was the feedback from, I wasn't there, I'm sorry, the people of why this is being Is it in the resident, I mean, why is it being denied?
From the comments made,
That's what I'm asking, what we're, can I ask?
it had to
What
do
the
with
comment-
the selling of liquor, distribution in that area, and the possible effects on that particular area itself.
As you know, the zoning board hears all liquor variance requests. Liquor licenses are a privilege, and they hear the request. I was also not at the meeting, but it was expressed that there was concern about the additional sale of liquor in that particular area, and especially foot traffic.
Exactly on West Main, you said 4,400.
Yeah.
What is around there that,
Well, it's next door to the auto repair shop and what is it, Steak and Shake. And then on the other side is Jimmy John's old restaurant. It's now a hairstyling.
is that, does that is it by the Mexican place?
It's across the street.
Do they sell liquor in the,
Inside only, not to be carried out.
oh, this is the,
This is packaged liquor.
oh, okay.
I think that was the big concern, is packaged liquor. Yes, sir.
Whose ward is this?
It's actually Ward 8. It's in Jim Musgrove Ward. We have a motion to deny, and we have a second. Roll call.
Heisler.
I abstain. Your Honor, I have to abstain because I'm in that business myself.
Okay.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Rudowitz. Randall.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Silsby. Hayden. Seibert.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Galletti. Musgrove.
Aye.
Schneider.
Motion's carried, is denied. Next case.
Case number 52, October 13th, Joseph Barhumi, Green Forest Vapor Shop, requesting a sign installation permit for area of special control in order to place one flush-mounted sign, 2 window decals, and 1 illuminated enclosed sign at 106 East Main Street, located in the C2 heavy commercial zoning district.
Recommend that request be approved and recommended by the
Okay, motion by Alderman White, second by Alderman Seibert, to approve this request and have the proper ordinance drawn. We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Case number 53, October 13th, Joseph Paul requesting an area bulk variance in order to utilize the second floor as an apartment unit at 212 West P Street, located in the C2 heavy commercial zoning district.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve Alderman Silsby, second by Alderman Schmidt. Any discussion? It has to have the proper ordinance drawn. All in favor of approving this motion, have the proper ordinance drawn, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Case number 54, October 13th, Gerald Jones, the Center for Racial Harmony, requesting a use variance in order to utilize 207 North 2nd Street as a place to hold occasional meetings and administrative office operations located in a B1 multifamily zoning district.
So moved, Your Honor.
Motion by Alderman Schmidt, second.
Second.
Second by Alderman Silsby. Any discussion? Needs to have the proper ordinance drawn. All in favor of this motion, this approval, and have the proper ordinance drawn, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have a city attorney report for the 2 attorneys dated 11/1/13. Ask for a motion to receive and file.
So moved, Your Honor.
Motion by Alderman Casella, second by Alderman Heisler. Any discussion?
I do have several questions. Do you want them asked now, or do you prefer to go, it looks like we're going into executive session later.
If there are attorney questions, I would hold them for executive session. We are going into executive session tonight. So with that, I ask for a motion to receive and file. We have the motion, we have the second, correct? We have the second also?
Yes.
All in favor of receiving and filing, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Oral reports, Alderman Heisler.
Yes, Your Honor. If there is no objection, I'd like to read the following 2 motions together, vote on them together.
Anybody object? A and B. Proceed.
Excuse me. Approval, excuse me, I'll make a motion on behalf of the Master Sewer Committee to approve the LTCP construction pay request number 40 from Cordy Lujan and juvenile weight immersion for a total of $695,550.78. On behalf of the Master Sewer Committee, I'd like to make a motion to approve the LTCP Phase 2 construction phase request number 6 from Air Plumbing in the amount of $485,385.30. So moved, Your Honor.
Motion by Alderman Heisler, second by Alderman Hayden. Any discussion on these two payments? Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz.
Aye.
Randall. Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Sillsby.
Aye.
Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert. White. Galletti. Musgrove.
Aye.
Shiner.
Aye.
Motion carries. Alderman Kinsella.
Excuse me, that'd be Alderman Rudowitz.
I'm sorry, you told me that. It was a typo.
Uh,
Alderman Ridgewitz.
We'll move on behalf of the Public Housing, Health and Housing Committee to raise the housing receptionist wage by $2 from $11.50 per hour Class A position to $13.50 per hour Class B position, and the housing secretary wage by $1 per hour from $13.50 per hour to $14.50 per hour, based upon increased duties related to management of the crime-free housing.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I hear a second? Second by Alderman Schmidt. First of all, hold it before we go. Jim or Bobby, that didn't change the class. Wasn't that amended here? Or did it? Was that discussed the other day, or am I dreaming that?
It does, I think the class change will happen in the next negotiation.
Okay, so for now, in the same class, it's just a wage change at this point. Okay? Okay, so before I take questions, let me just say this. In the ordinance that we referenced tonight, with a couple questions already, voting on the committee, etc., explained that there would also be, Bob, explained we'd also have additional clerical, right?
That's correct.
In conversation with his staff and the union, they felt that they could do these additional duties by helping to possibly elevate the lowest two clerical people in the office, the newest, youngest?
One is.
One is, okay.
She's the most recently hired.
Most recently hired. If we were to hire a person, certainly we'd have a much greater expense. Now, this is like everything else with this crime-free. You know, it's tough in the beginning because they're entering everything and they're getting the new computer system loaded. But we're hoping, and Bob seems to agree with the girls talking to them and with the union, that it's gonna level off. And that it's something they believe they could do. They proposed this wage adjustment as an alternative to hiring another person right at the moment. And it will save, as you may have seen in the memo, I think, up to what, 20,000 something?
21, yes. 21,000.
So it was brought forth by them. The ordinance spelled out we had the authority to hire another person, but the girls in the union worked with Bob and the staff, and this is the proposal tonight. With this adjustment, they believe that they can absorb these duties and make this work. But once again, it's a new thing. We haven't really worked our way through, but it would be a way to start without hiring another person and then finding out that something doesn't happen. And we don't even, money's been coming in pretty well, but we haven't had a chance to really track this thing through yet as to all the expenses, etc. Is that the fairest way to say it? So it's a way to walk before we run. Alderman Hayden.
Couple things as a follow-up. First, I want to thank Director Sable. I sent various different questions to him, yourself, Mayor. I believe it also went to the city attorney and the police chief in reference. To summarize them, my concerns were if these staff are taking on additional duties, who's going to be taking over some of the duties that they may, no longer be doing, so we don't incur overtime, et cetera. I appreciate Mr. Sable's answer to those concerns. I also raised questions as it relates to if this would be open enough the union negotiations, and I've got confirmation that that's not going to happen. One question that I didn't ask in my email, and I'm just curious,
this didn't actually go before the housing committee, is that correct?
No, it was in the crime-free committee that we approved the ordinance, as we said before. You know, this ordinance, this council approved a couple weeks ago, a month or so ago. This was all spelled out inside there.
Okay, but point of order, you cannot put this on the agenda as coming from one committee.
It did not.
This
It
is
was
not
talked-
a
well,
legal
it's-
motion to act on.
Okay.
I'm just asking, because I'm on the committee,
Okay,
and I
okay,
didn't remember
I tell you what,
us
and
discussing.
I wasn't aware of this until just a little bit ago. I thought they had a vote from the housing committee, realized that they hadn't. So I'll tell you what we'll do. The housing committee, I believe there was no agenda for Wednesday night, right, Bob? But to get this done, you and I will set a date tomorrow we'll talk to the committee chairman. Gabby, if you can call us at your convenience, we'll set a date for a special meeting so that we don't slow this process down of getting started in the fashion that they want on December 1st. Is their plan, right? Or getting started immediately, really. They're already starting.
Well, November 1st was.
November 1st, it was technically, that's right, but I mean, we're trying to get it moving quickly. I just learned that it was not officially taken a vote. I didn't realize that. And we'll send it back to that committee, but I'm not, it's been approved by the ordinance. We can do that. If that's what you're insisting on, we can do that.
I'm not necessarily insisting, I'm just wondering if there was a meeting that I missed or something, because I don't remember being there. The other question, and again, Mr. Save, I appreciate the response. I had sent various different questions, and by the time I got them back and looked on my little phone thing that I can't read that well because of my eyes. What software are we going to be using, Mr. Sable? Do we have dedicated special software? I thought we bought dedicated software for this that was going to interact with the new police department software. Is that the case, or
I'm
how
going
is?
to have to refer that to the police department, they're the one who can say that.
The new system that we purchased, the new records management system, is going to work together with this. I talked to the chief today. I'm not the one to sit here and try to explain in any detail, but that system, which is real close to stepping off in a matter of days in the police department, they believe that they'll be able to upload and get the housing department going quickly with everything, that all these records that pertain to crime-free.
But Mr. Sable, the forms that you're getting back from the landlord with their fees, what system are we entering that into?
None at this time. We're placing them in a paper file.
We're waiting for the system to be ready in a few days. We're told by the police department that the new system will be ready to go for entering all this information and data in a matter of days.
And it's the dedicated. My concern is, Your Honor, to be straight to the point, is that we're entering this data into, if we're entering into a dedicated software that's supposed to interface, then that's great. If we're entering this into a spreadsheet type form, then
This is going,
we're
they're holding it until they enter it one time into the new system, which I am told is a matter of days away.
So it's not going into no spreadsheet type form.
It's going into the new system now. Whether or not that's going to produce spreadsheets or what, you approved this piece of equipment for the police department, and it was stated then and stated again that this system is not only going to have the records management for the police department, but it's going to have the ability to track and to handle all the housing complaints for the crime-free program as well. And it's going to be integrated to totally work together between police and housing.
Right.
And it should be, in a matter of days, the chief tells me, it should be ready to receive, and the staff, as soon as we get the staff situations worked out here now, they'll be able to start.
And then when the police cars are out on the street, if they're at 1, 2, 3 names,
The housing and the
they
housing.
will know
police-
who's supposed to be living there and everything.
Exactly. As soon as we get everything loaded, all that information will be at their fingertips.
Okay, great.
Alderman Schneider.
Yes, if we would approve these pay increases for these workers, what happens if they feel, oh, we can't handle it? They get the pay increase and then we do have to go ahead and hire an extra person. If they're saying they can do it, how can they be justified just to say, okay, we're gonna give you some money because you say you can do it? if they can do it, why are we giving them a raise? The police department, the fire department does not get this kind of raises.
Mayor? May I answer?
Yes.
There's a section in their contract that states, when new and additional duties and responsibilities of substance are added to an existing job or a new job is created, the union and the employer shall meet to decide the classification of the new job or the increase in wages for the existing job. This shall not be construed as a reason to reopen the negotiation process. So we are adding additional duties to the receptionist position and to the housing secretary. And these additional duties are of quite a substance.
And we felt that this was a way to possibly save the city some money instead of doing what you all approved with the ordinance, for those of you who voted for it, let me misstate that. But in the ordinance, it stated we were going to hire a person, right, Bob?
Correct.
So we're actually trying to save a little money and start out, and this was the girls coming forward, but according to the contract, in the union presence, Bob and staff, Jim Schneider, negotiated this consideration as a way to start the process and try. It's a savings to the city, and they think it's going to work. And it shows that we're listening to our employees, and we're following the union contract that currently we have with them.
And one more question. This going back to health and housing, does it not have to go through finance because it's...
Well, we could, technically, and I'm going to ask Garrett, our city attorney. Ladies and gentlemen, we can make this as cumbersome and go through as many hoops as we want. We've tried this, it's like that we're trying to prove a point that we don't want crime-free to get started. I'll send it back for a special meeting. If you want, I'll call for a special meeting of the Health and Housing and Finance Committee jointly and have you approve it. If that's what it takes. I think we have the right to approve it tonight. I had honestly thought it was approved in housing, but that was a miss. It wasn't. That's not like somebody lied to me. I just had believed it was.
I think you're very wrong about the ability to do it tonight according to Open Meetings Act and what was published for the public. I do not think we have that on
It says oral reports from the elected officials.
Well, we have it on the agenda. And whether or not, I don't know that our ordinance book says we have to send something to the
The Open
committee.
Meetings Act requires that you need only identify the subject matter of the action. So it is sufficiently for purpose, it's on the agenda sufficiently for the Open Meetings Act.
Alderman Randall.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Director Sandville, could you do me one favor, please, sir? Could you tell me how the duties are substantially different from what they already do?
Well, it's from the crime-free housing program. The new duties of the housing secretary is going to include the managing of the property registration forms, crime-free housing certificates, crime-free lease addendums, and the criminal search forms. Also should be coordinating with the assigned crime-free housing officers and documenting the risks and information pertaining to the enforcement of the ordinance.
Let's go back to managing the forms. What exactly does that mean?
Well, all the property registration forms that we had sent out to the landlords, which was a total of 1,486 forms that come back and need to be processed and to be reviewed to make sure they're correcting the proper.
So they will determine, okay, at the time when these things will go out, when they're supposed to be collected back in, then going ahead
Keep those records.
putting the
correct.
data into
Right.
the system, et cetera.
And then also with the new system, all new occupancy required to bring in the crime-free lease addendum and the criminal search forms. They'll have to verify them and also file them also. Lot
So
more
it's a
filing,
step
lot
up
more
from just a
checking.
clerical position, it's more of a managing the office type of
That
thing.
is correct. Right. And that was just for the housing secretary, and then the housing receptionist is going to be assisting the housing secretary while the housing secretary is doing the crime-free housing program stuff. She is going to be cross-trained in the housing secretary's job doing the house inspections and that, and also she's going to be cross-trained in the crime-free housing program to continue that when the housing secretary is off for vacation or whatever, so we keep up to date with all that information. Those four girls have been overwhelmed since we passed this ordinance the day after, and it's been constant since September 17th, and it hasn't ended yet.
I believe you just said there that these girls came forward stating that they thought that they could perform these additional duties. And what I'm hearing from Mr. Sabo is that in in order for this collective bargaining agreement to kick in, the city is to heap or put on these women the additional responsibilities of the position. So I want to know, did they volunteer for it, or did the city tell them they were going to do it?
We didn't tell them. I think the fair thing to say is Mr. Sable sat down with them when the ordinance was passed, the way I understand it, Bob jumped in here. He sat down with his department like any good manager and displayed to them what was going to happen, and they had an open discussion about the new additions to the department. And that's when this conversation came forward, correct?
That's correct. When the crime-free housing ordinance was proposed, I informed them that with this passing the ordinance, that we were going to hire another new secretary. At that time is when we had the discussion, and they felt that they could handle the extra additional duties. The housing secretary is the one that volunteered her services, stating that she believed she could handle the increase of work with additional help from the receptionist also.
Alderman Schmidt.
I just have a question. If we hired the additional secretary, like we voted for in the ordinance, what would that person's wage be to start?
Well, if you start at the lowest salary, it'd be $11.50 an hour, and that's not including the insurance benefits. The salary would be $28,080 per year. The increase for both secretaries comes to $6,240 per year, and there'd be a savings of, for salary alone, $21,840. And I figured that would be better kept in the crime-free housing program, and hopefully add an additional police officer eventually down the road.
We know that housing has its peaks certain times of the year anyway. There's certain times of the year that they have peak seasons and permits and different things. So hopefully they can balance this. This is a discussion he had with his people, and it's a way to try it. And it's a way to try to save the city a little bit of money.
Mr. Mayor, I've always looked at this crime-free housing as like a corrective part of this. If we have 650 landlords and so much percentage of Belleville that is rental property, if this thing works, I mean, the whole purpose of this thing is to work, is to make Belleville safer, to make Belleville a better place to live. If it works, then hopefully the duties of these young ladies are going to be reduced. Instead of hiring somebody now and not knowing what the duties are going to be, I would think that a year from now, the duties are going to be less than what they are right now. And so I think this is a pretty part-time kind of solution to this. It's perfect.
There's many unknowns at this point. I think that's the point. Bob came to me and said, I think we have a way to get this thing started without jumping in and hiring another person, which, some of us here remember just a few years ago when we were laying people off because of the downfall in the economy, et cetera. And I think what we're saying is we have a chance to walk before we can run. Alderman Holden?
Okay, I'm a little bit confused. I thought you said there were 4 employees that are currently affected by this extra influx of material, and yet somehow we're only going to give 2 of them pay raises.
No one else has gotten a pay raise yet. These are just for after this initial implementation of the program, the 2 secretaries are going to be the ones handling the crime-free housing program. They're all involved, and myself, Roger Barfield, and a couple of the other people are also involved in instituting this program also, from the police department, placing overtime.
So how do the other 2 feel about not getting pay raises?
Well, at the time, once the program is implemented, we get done with all the seminars, and the initial work is being done. Those 2 are basically now handling the workload that's coming in, and the other 2 are returning.
Which after the initial data entry involves how many more hours of their week?
We don't know.
Okay, but, if you're going from 1150 to 1350, that's an increase of 17.5%, which at their current pay rate is asking them to basically do 7 more hours of work. I fail to see how somebody who is a full-time employee now can get 7 more hours of work in a 40-hour work week.
Well, I was looking at the levels. The one housing receptionist is a Class A level, which is $11.50 an hour. She's going to be doing the work of the housing secretary, and she is going to be doing the crime-free housing program, and that is a level B position. That was just like when our building secretary was out on medical leave for 2 months. The receptionist moved into the building secretary's position, and the union automatically, or she automatically received that pay raise while she was doing that job as the building secretary. So this is basically no difference than moving her up to the other level B, making as much money as she is being cross-trained into crime-free housing program and also in the housing secretary's job
So
as well.
there's 4 people doing this job now.
For the implementation process,
Raises.
we have had the housing, the very first day after this was implemented, I had the housing inspectors, I had Roger Warfield, myself, we had like 10 people, employees of the housing department, mailing out 1,480 letters out to landlords, and we formed a chain line where all 10 of us was out there stuffing envelopes to get everything mailed out on September 17th. So if you want to take that into consideration also as the inspectors.
But that was a one-time deal.
Well, this is going to be a one-time deal on the main
But the raise
implementation.
isn't, the raise is forever.
Because of the 2 secretaries are going to be mainly doing the extra load once the implementation process of the crime-free housing ordinance is completed.
The other 2 ladies who were there, the higher level, when they came in here on the weekends and worked our nights, they got paid overtime. We had to approve, that was part of it. They got paid overtime for coming in here those Saturdays for those to work and register everybody. You know, so they're being compensated. It's not like they've been compensated. They're all pitching in to get this thing started. But as Mr. Sable was saying, there's going to be additional work that these 2 younger employees or these 2 Class A or the lower level employees are going to be taking on a daily basis to make this system work. Alderman White.
It's not that unusual, I believe, in the private sector, Your Honor. When somebody accepts an increase in their work, not necessarily the time put in, but the complexity and the responsibilities and the change of the duties more than the hours to be considered for compensation for that. I don't think it's highly unusual at all. In fact, it's probably pretty warranted.
I thought it was, when they came to me with this, I thought this was a win-win for the city. They were going to get the job done and figured out how to save us, the city of taxpayers, $21,000 approximately. Alderman Hayden?
Yes, well, one thing I concur with Alderman White, almost 20 years I spent in the public sector. Of course, I was salary exempt. I had duties added to my position. I wasn't asked if I even wanted them, and if there's something with no pay increase, and you just have to make it work. If the director's telling me it's doable, then I have to take his word for it. And you know, I'm a stickler on the committees, but I honestly believe that this was a potential oversight and a mistake. I've stated before, you know, I fought my battle on the rent tax. I didn't win that. I fought my battle on the, I think some of the unnecessary background checks of family members, etc. I've made my concerns of some of the issues as relates to some of the ordinances and could that potentially get us in legal trouble. I've made my statement tonight that we need our own housing court, but I also want to make it clear that the housing department and the police department has made it very clear that this is a tool they need to enforce what the people want, and I'm ready to move forward with this.
Thank you. Alderman Kinsella.
Your Honor, with the whether this should have gone to housing before or not, maybe, but the whole purpose of it going to housing is so that the housing people could discuss it in length, which I kind of think we've all done right now. So I'd like to ask our attorney, under what circumstances are we allowed to bypass something like housing? Is it all right? Is it legal for us to do this now, since we've just about talked as much as we would during a housing meeting? And everybody's been here, so that's my
Your
question.
city council rules related to the committees, creates the committees. It doesn't require any and all actions to go through the committees. Committee work is a good idea for the reasons you just stated, because you can speak at length during the committee, and so as to avoid that as your city council meeting. If you feel you fully discussed it, it's sufficiently agended. The subject matter of the action is on your agenda. The public knows what the contemplated action is. You do have the ability within the law to vote on it tonight if you so desire, or you have the ability to refer back to one or more committees if you so desire. It's up to a motion approved by the city council as a whole.
And let me just say one thing. This crime-free housing, in spite of what a few people maybe early on tried to say, this was not a rush job. We took a year. We were very public, very transparent. We had numerous meetings, and this was all aired out. And some of us tonight maybe haven't gone back and reread the ordinance in recent days, but all this is in there. And there's nothing hidden here. And I just think that it's not totally out of line at all, even though by formality, maybe we could, but I think Alderman Kinsella raises a good point. We've had a very healthy discussion. I think all questions seem to have been asked and answered. And I would hope that we don't stall the program any longer. Bob Sable's worked hard and put in a lot of extra time, and I think he's anxious to get this thing out of the gate, which I think all of us are. So right now, we have a motion,
We do have
right?
a motion and a second.
We have a motion and a second. We do not have an amendment at this point. So we have a motion and a second to adopt it as it is, as it's stated by the agenda. Alderman Holt, you have something else to add?
I have a question for the clerk, how it came to be on the agenda in this meeting.
From Bob Sable and myself.
Yeah, we get it directly, and Kathy then transcribes it exactly what she receives, so.
Okay, then I'm really confused how, if there are no meeting minutes from that committee, you were putting
Okay,
on
when this
that
came, okay, and was added to the agenda, Bob had reminded me that we had these couple of things to add to the agenda. The appointment of the committee, the hearing officer, and this change in thing. This coming under saying from the Public Health and Housing Committee might have been transposed out of my office, because when they asked me, where does this go on the agenda, this didn't go in the front under appointments. This was more of a action of oral reports. Now, maybe it was just assumed because we were talking back and forth and emailing back and forth to Health and Housing that it got sent down to Kathy with the motion coming from Health and Housing. It could have just as simply said a motion to approve. So that's the
I'll
hang-up.
give the benefit of the doubt there, because you actually had Alderman Kinsella, who chairs the task force instead.
That's right. He's chaired the task force for the past year plus. So, I mean, I think, there's nothing hidden here. If the council's ready, we have a motion and we have a second to approve this request by the housing director and all those who have explained tonight and worked this out to approve this. If there's no objections, understanding the city attorney feels that we are in our legal realm to do it here publicly right now because it's on the agenda, I'm going to call for a vote.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt.
Abstain.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Silsby.
Aye.
Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Galletti. Musgrove.
Aye.
Orland. I'm sorry, Schneider.
No.
Ayes have it. We move on. Turn the page. Let me get a turn. Communications. I don't think we have anything.
No, we don't.
No petitions, no resolutions. I ask for a motion to read by title only. Ordinance 7722, 7723, 7724, and 7725.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Silsby, second by Alderman Kinsella, to read by title only. All in favor of reading those ordinances by title only, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Zoning ordinance number 7722, case 52, October 13th.
Is there objection if we read these together? There are three zoning ordinances and there's one traffic. Nobody's opposed? Read them all.
Zoning ordinance number 7722, case 52, October 13th, Joseph Barhumi, Green Forest Vapor Shop. B, zoning ordinance number 7723, case 53, October 13th, Joseph Paul. C, zoning ordinance number 7724, case 54, October 13th, Gerald Jones, Center for Racial Harmony. D, ordinance number 7725, an ordinance amending chapter 52, traffic of the revised ordinances of the city of Belleville, Illinois, as amended by amending portions of sections thereof.
Motion to approve ordinance number 77, 22, 23, 24, and 25. So moved.
Motion by Alderman Sillsby, second by Alderman Seibert. Any discussion? Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella. Holt. Schmidt. Ridgewood. Randall. Anthony. Davidson. Sillsby. Hayden. Seibert. White. Galletti. Musgrove. Schneider.
Ordinance is passed. Any unfinished business?
On number 12, communications from mayor, clerk, or other city officials, I had two things. Well, something for you about the Veterans Day thing in my packet. Was that part
It's for all of, it's a good point. This here is the packet about Veterans Day. There's both a letter and this. Just encourage everyone to come November 11th, 11 a.m. on the square. This is an invitation for all the elected officials as well as the public, and please share it. The speaker is going to be the base commander from the 375th at Scott Air Force Base. Mr. Harner here has agreed to be the master of ceremonies this year. There's a lot of good patriotic entertainment, and it's always a very nice, about 1 hour ceremony on the square. Yes, sir.
Can we get an update, Your Honor? I know we got the cameras up, we were told that it was going to be October, because I'm the chairman of a video bond retirement party, you know, on the YouTube camera, and I'm just wanting to know when I can start setting up that party.
Well, latest from Charter, when I went out, I don't know if you attended, but several of us went to Lindenwood's open house at their new communications center. It's beautiful, it's up and running now. Charter told me that they've ordered the last couple pieces of equipment that they need. They're waiting on their delivery. They're hoping, they couldn't give me an exact date, but they thought it was a matter of we're down to a week or a couple weeks. Unless something's changed, and they're supposed to get back with me. I talked to the people from Charter that night, and we're waiting. I think we're ready to go here. We're waiting on Charter's final equipment.
And the other question, I was going to reference Union Avenue, but I'm satisfied that you're going to have everything that you've got forwarded to the traffic committee. We can
We'll
work
sign
on some
it.
solutions that night. I just want to note that too. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I did attend the Lindenwood open house and asked the same questions about when they would be here, and I was very surprised. I had assumed all along we would have a student involved in this, and they told me our own Rich Peppers was going to be in charge.
Rich Peppers is going to start out. Partly because he wants to understand the equipment that's here in our building and be able to handle it in case a student doesn't show up, et cetera. But they're going to work towards a student. This is a work in progress, as I've explained all along. There's a chance down the road, if this program grows, that we'll be able to maybe have an internship program. And they're open for that discussion. But as we said, we've got to walk before we can run. I believe we've got a great potential system here now with Lindenwood and that equipment they have out there, et cetera, and the ability to do numerous different kinds of programming. But I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that every aspect is all worked out perfectly, because there's some things that are just a work in progress. But that's the best I can answer that. Okay, miscellaneous and new business, motor fuel claims in the amount of $1,603.70. Motion by Alderman Seibert, second by Alderman Hayden. Discussion. Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt. Schmidt. Ridgewood. Randall. Anthony. Davidson. Sillsby. Hayden. Seibert. White. Galletti. Musgrove. Schneider.
Motion carries. I ask for a motion to go into executive session for the purpose to discuss personnel litigation and property acquisition. Yes, sir.
I have one new business.
Oh, I'm sorry, please.
I'm not trying to pick a fight tonight or anything, but I would like to know, I heard that, I would like to know what this sign is doing back here in front of everybody in this council.
Well, I'm going to discuss, Alderman Schneider is expressing her concerns.
Well, what
I'm
authority
going
does she
to, well,
have?
I'm going to discuss with the city attorney after tonight that in the future, I think any documentations here have to pertain to something currently at hand, and the rest could be placed in the area if there's a public participation placed in the hallway or whatever. But I'm with you.
I want to do it too.
Okay?
I got a lawnmower for sale. Sign up. I got next Valentine's Day is my wife. I want to put a Valentine's up for my bride. I want to
Okay,
put up.
I understand, we're gonna have this discussion.
This
Because
is pictures of what the city's property
you are
looks
not,
like.
I did not recognize you, he was recognized.
Okay, well,
No, hold on,
All I'm saying is.
we have a motion, do we have a motion recognized for executive session?
Yeah,
Second.
Can we have a break before we go into executive
I think that's possible.
session? You gave him kind of.
Alderman Schneider, I'll let you, but your outbursts have gotta be refrained. Go ahead.
Well, I'm not selling candy or lawnmowers or anything else. These are true pictures, especially this one, going into the bathrooms. You get an inch rain, the water runs into the bathrooms instead of out. The concrete.
Have you been to the park board with these?
Do you want to talk about the park? As I was speaking to Mr. Harner, I requested things on the dog park, and I have not gotten. So it does no good. So I am just showing what we paid over $2.6 million for. You've got posts that's going to be washing away where the water is. No, this is city property. This ain't personal property. This is what our taxpayers' money
I'm
is
sorry.
I
spent.
just want to know what authority that she has to bring it in here, what the purpose of it is.
To let the people know and
Let
see
what
it.
people, you can do that outside on the street. Why is it in this city council? What authority do you have to bring it in here?
Because it's a freedom of mind.
Okay, I respect that. Do we have a motion? Who made the motion to go to executive session? Alderman Schmidt, who seconded it?
I did.
Alderman Seibert. I asked for a motion to go in executive session for the purposes I explained a minute ago. All in favor of going to executive session signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I'm going to give you a 3-minute break. We're going to start here in about 3 or 4 minutes.
Playing my part.
Oh, I know it's great. Oh, I've never seen one to affect the public in life. But anyway, I told them that we were going to ask them to come here the second meeting in November. At that time, I'll bring the board down here that they just brought it to be accepted. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're back in open session. There's one item of business to still be conducted. I would ask for a motion to approve the recommended workers' comp settlement. Give the attorney, Mr. Thompson, approval to go out and try to settle that as the conditions were explained tonight. Alderman Ruzowitz, motion to approve, second by Alderman Schmidt. Any further discussion on giving him the authority to move forward? I guess roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Holt. Schmidt. Ridgewood. Randall. Anthony. Davidson. Silsby. Hayden. Seibert. White. Coletti. Musgrove. Schneider.
Aye.
Motion carries. I hear motion to adjourn. The vote. Motion by Schmidt, second by Hayden. All in favor of adjournment, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Don't forget Veterans Day.
He wasn't on the list. But somebody asked me. Yeah, we'll be there.